Okay, so continuing on, we're going to do some more practice with adding and subtracting decimals with normal numbers as well as with applications here in a little bit. So we're adding two numbers, they're both positive. So what we can do is we can just line up our decimal and add like their whole numbers. So 52.671, then 5.970. Our decimals are lined up, so we can go ahead and put our decimal there. We're adding, and since they're both positive, our final answer will be a positive, so we don't have to worry about actually adding a sign, which is negative. So now we have 1 plus 0 is 1. 7 plus 7 is 14, so we'll carry 1. That's 10 plus 6 is 16. We'll carry 1 again. 5 plus 3 is 8, and then we just have 5. So when we add 52.671 to 5.970, we end up with 58.641. Now this one, we have a positive number that's larger than a smaller number, which is negative. So we're just going to subtract. So we're going to take 9, and then we're going to subtract off 2.261. Well, that's really 9 point, and we can add 3 zeros there for placeholders because we're going to have placeholders because we're going to have to borrow. So that becomes 8, that becomes 9, that becomes 10, we subtract off 1, carry over. So now we can take 10 minus 1, and that's going to be 9. 9 minus 6 is 3. 9 minus 2 is 7. Put our period. And 8 minus 2 is 6. So when we take 9 and subtract off 2.261, we get the 6.739. And finally, we have 80.9 minus 6. Well, 80.9 minus 6. Now we can go ahead and put 6.0 for the placeholder. Now if we go ahead and bring down our 0, now we have 9 minus 0. It's 9. Oh, now we have to borrow again, so that's going to become a 7. This is 10, so it's 10 minus 6 is 4. And then 7 minus 0 is 7, and so our answer is 74.9. Okay. Now one thing for when you do subtractions, if you ever want to make sure you're correct, you can always take and the number you subtracted off, add it to your final answer and see if you get your original value back. So if we take 9 plus 1, that's 10, so that's our 0. Bring a 1 here. 6 plus 4 is 10, so that'd be 0. And then we bring a 1 down here. 7 plus 1 plus 2 is going to be 10 again, so that's going to be a 0, carry a 1. And so 6 plus 1 is 7, plus 2 more is 9, and so that gives us our 9 back. Same thing here. If we add those two, that's 9. That's 10, carry 1's 8, so it's going to be 80.9. So you can always check your answers if you need to be sure you have the correct thing. Now, if we're having two adding, we're going to have to take that larger one minus the one you added to here, and you should get your other value up there. All right, let's say we do this one. We have 8.4 minus, basically, because it's adding the opposite. So we're going to subtract off the smaller one. And so 8.4, and we have 6.757. We're subtracting. So it looks like we have to add a couple zeros there for placeholders. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract off 1 here, and that becomes 7. Now this is 13, this is 9, and now we have our 10. So now we have 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 5 is 4. 13 minus 7 is going to give us 6. Bring our decimal here. And then we have 7 minus 6, which is 1. Okay. And the larger number is positive, so that's going to stay a positive number. All right, so now let's look at this one. We have, again, absolute values. We have things inside the parentheses we have to do, and we have a subtraction up front, it looks like. So let's look at this piece first. So it looks like we have a smaller number minus a larger number. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the larger number, 16.4, subtract off the smaller, 3.81. And so we're going to bring a 0 there to kind of even things out for a number of decimal places. Put our decimal there. And we know the larger number is negative, so the final answer here is going to be negative. All right, now we can start subtracting, but we're going to have to borrow clear to the end there. So 6 becomes a 5. That makes that 14, but when we borrow 1, that becomes 13. So now we can subtract 10 minus 1 is 9. 13 minus 8 is going to give us a 5. 5 minus 3 is going to be 2, and 1 minus 0 is going to be a 1. So we get a negative 12.59. So if we rewrite this, or the decimal, there we go, minus absolute value of negative 12.59. Now the absolute value of this is going to become positive, so we're going to end up with negative 12.4 minus. Now we just drop that negative, so it just becomes 12.59. Now we have a negative minus another negative, or basically minus plus a negative, and so there's the same sign. So now what we can do is we can take 12.4 plus 12.59. Go ahead and add that 0. We're going to add, and then our final answer is going to be negative. So now we have 0 plus 9 is 9, 5 plus 4 is 9 in our decimal, and then we have 2 plus 2 is 4, and 1 plus 1 is 2, and so then our final answer is negative 24.99. Okay. Again, it's just following an order of operations, so we do everything inside the parentheses or absolute values first. Then after that, we can just do the subtraction, which ends up being just adding the two together and then give us a negative value in the end. All right, now applications. So it says the newly launched Herschel telescope has a mirror 11.5 feet in diameter, while Hubble's mirror is 7.9 feet in diameter. How much larger is Herschel's mirror in diameter than Hubble's? Well, all we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take the Herschel's 11.5, subtract off the Hubble, which is 7.9, and we should get our answer. So if we put that in vertical form, 11.5 minus 7.9, well, we have to borrow one here, so that's 0. Borrow one here, so that's 10. So we have 15. And so here we have a point, and that's going to be a 6. 10 minus 7 is 3. So it looks like it's going to be 3.6 feet larger in diameter. Okay. And again, if we wanted to check, since this is the subtraction, all we'd do is we would take 9 plus 6 is 15, so that's going to give us our 5, carry 1. 7 plus 1 plus 3 is going to give us 11, and so we'd have 11.5, which is our original value for Herschel. All right, so the next one says, net worth is defined as assets minus liabilities. So assets are everything of value that can be converted to cash, while liabilities are the total of the debts that we owe. And it says General Growth Properties, the owner of the Bayshore Mall, have $29.6 billion in assets and $27 billion in liabilities and have gone bankrupt. What was General Growth Properties' net worth before bankruptcy? So we're going to take their assets, basically, minus their liabilities, and that's what their net worth was. So when we do that, their assets were 29.6 billion. We'll just drop the billion for now. Subtract off the billions of liability, which is 27. Now if we line that up, 29.6 minus 27, and then we can put 0.0. So when we subtract, we get 6 minus 0 is 6, but our decimal, 9 minus 7 is 2. And that's going to be 0. So it looks like it's going to be 2.6 billion is going to be their net worth. So they had a positive net worth, but they still went bankrupt. All right, so that's all I have for the extra exercises for this section.